Casters have kind of always been underwhelming in basically every Souls game, at least when it came to duels. However, with Ashes of Ariandel, there is now a bunch of new little things that really help them out a lot. The main things are, in the arena, you are unembered, so that Soul Spear that's doing 1,000 damage is now taking 80% of their health instead of, around half their health, which is huge. And additionally, the 2v2 modes, the 3v3 modes, the brawls, the free-for-alls, all of those modes benefit a caster way, way more than, embered, red sign, pontiff duels. So here I decided to go and experiment which would be the best spellcaster class for the multiple player modes, and here's what I found. First, I tried miracles, and I definitely put an emphasis on healing miracles. The idea, obviously, is that you have a really powerful group heal, you run next to your allies who are getting killed, and you save them with a giant heal. However, while it seems like a great idea in theory, it actually does not work in the arena, at all. The thing is, you only get one Ashen Estus for your entire life, basically. And the only way you get more is if A, you die, or B, you kill somebody. And if you're playing a support healer, you're never going to kill anybody, and if you die, then you're dying, and that's a loss for you. So having a support character doesn't work very well. There's also a lot of difficulty in trying to organize three people to group around you and get the heal. Sometimes it's hard to recognize who's on your team even. Most of the time I tried this, allies were nowhere near me, and even if I tried to hold the spell so they would come near me, I would just get hit by another player who sees me clearly, channeling a healing spell. And then everyone's unembered, so everyone's dying quickly too, so usually you don't even get to them before they die. Overall, miracles are just really underwhelming. Now, if you're using sunlight spears and things like that for actual damage, it's still underwhelming because you can get way more damage out of sorcery and pyromancy. Lightning Stake is, still a lot damaged by all of those. Lightning Storm is not even that great because it's very, very slow and the damage is pretty underwhelming. Overall, the miracles are probably the worst type of spellcaster to bring to the actual battle. However, if you're just using a buffed Sunlight Blade, or Dark Moon Blade plus a weapon, I don't consider that a miracle user, so that's just you with a faith build using melee weapons. That's fine. Go to town there. But remember, you're going to have very little mana, so you need to really watch it and get those last hits so you can refill your Ashen Estus. The next build I tried was a just good old Sorcerer. The standard Crown of Dust, Scholar's Candlestick, Young Dragon Ring, Bellowing Dragon Crest, all the stat boosting rings basically, Sage Ring as well, and I experimented with it a bit. Obviously you're going to want Crystal Soul Spear, and the whole way you play when you're doing like this is basically just finding which one of your allies is preoccupied with somebody, or if you're in free-for-all, just pick anybody who's preoccupied, find the lowest guy and shoot a Soul Spear at him. This is a good thing because Soul Spears are very hard to hit on an opponent who's actually paying attention to you. If they're actually looking at you, they can just run left or right and dodge it. However, if they're in a combo or attacking somebody else, you can very easily Soul Spear people, and you can just run up behind them and do it. In fact, I recommend using the Obscuring Ring, which is a really good idea because you can just run away from everybody and then just find a fight, run in, shoot a Soul Spear, and run back out. And even if someone finds you and starts chasing you down, that's still someone who's spending time chasing you and not killing your allies. So it's really a win-win situation. Soulstream, while funny, is not a good idea to bring to the table. It's just too hard to aim. The aiming is just... You can't even go up top and aim downward because you can only aim in kind of a horizontal line. So Soulstream is not worth it to bring. Crystal Soul Spear, by far one of the best to bring. Even White Dragon Breath is not even a bad idea. Heavy Soul Arrow works as well if you're looking to save your Ashen Estus, because remember, you only get your Ashen Estus back if you kill somebody. So that's why it sounds scummy, but you really have to just sit on the outskirts and launch Soul Spears at people to get the kill on them. That way you have infinite FP, basically. What I usually do is I get a kill on someone, drink my Ashen Estus to get back to full, and in the delay of them dying and me drinking my Ashen Estus, I actually start giving, you get more Estus back. So you have infinite Estus. You launch a spell, kill somebody, drink some Estus, then you get some more back, and it's a repeating cycle over and over again to where you just keep getting your Estus back. And you can last literally the entire 5 minutes by just continually killing players. Other than that, though, the main spell you really want is Crystal Soul Spear. That is the killer. You definitely probably want to add, Homing Soul Mass and Farron Flash Sword or even Soul Greatsword if people start getting on your nuts, because they will. They'll know what you're doing and they will get on your nuts because they will be very upset with you. but as long as you're good at evading and you can keep them off of you, then it is very potent to play like a stealthy spellcaster sorcerer and just launch soul spears at unsuspecting targets. It really, really is very effective. Last but not least is the Pyromancer build, which I believe to be by far the best, and it's for a number of reasons. One, the spells that you get are pretty much the most AoE heavy, which is very important when you got, 3 enemies just running all over the place and you have allies that are all clumped together. It's really, really good for hitting group targets. Chaos Bed Vestiges is very good at this. It's got a massive AoE. You can just pretty much willy-nilly throw that shit anywhere and you'll be hitting somebody, which is really great for getting your Ashen Estus back as well. Firestorm, it's just a bad spell. I don't even recommend wasting a slot for it. It does like 250 damage even on a perfect hit, so it seems like a good idea in theory with grouped up people, but it's slow and does very bad damage, so I wouldn't bother with that. Black Serpent is another really, really good one to use. You can just start chaining those together in people that are in fights, and it's going to make them either panic roll or get hit. It is probably the best spammable spell in the game because it just goes everywhere, and in a giant, cacophony of people slapping each other, it's really effective at hitting multiple targets. So Chaos Bed Vestiges and Black Serpent are both really, really good. You can also try using like Toxic Mist. It's actually pretty effective at tracking who actually is an opponent, and I've noticed a lot of people don't bring Moss here. That's not to say it's good because they can have 1 second to breathe and then use Moss, but I actually found it to be marginally useful, so especially since it actually applies quicker now, you can try that out, but not that great. There's also the new Floating Chaos Pyromancy, which is unfortunately not good. They just don't like making spells good for some reason, so in a 3v3 situation, Floating Chaos has not very many uses. I could see that being maybe useful in 1v1s where you want to try to combo something into them dodging the initial fireballs, but in this case you don't really have to worry about people dodging because you're not focusing on people that are fighting you. And here's another good thing about Pyromancy: if someone is focusing you, you have access to basically every dark weapon in the game, and dark is probably the one infusion with an element that actually does worthwhile damage. Like a dark Karthus sword is actually pretty much the same damage as a physical version of it. It's really, really good. And you can also use the new Onyx Greatsword as well. So Pyromancy, I think, has the most options overall. But you want to play it the same way you play as Sorcerer, with the added benefit of having really good melee options as well. So just chuck Chaos Bed Vestiges at groups of players or players that are really low. Throw Black Serpents out if no one's pressuring you, and just throw that into the entire arena. You can use Fire Surge to pick people off. You can even use Black Flame because it has a bigger AoE than you would think. You can use Toxic Mist to start tracking players. I mean, there's just a lot of options for Pyromancy that's really, really good. So that is definitely my favorite overall. I found the most success with Pyromancy. So that's basically it. It's a good overlook of the varying levels of spellcasters in the arena and what I found success with. And obviously what I found success with is not, indicative of what everyone will find success with, but overall, I mean, in a good sample size, I would say Pyromancy is definitely the way to go. I'm not even particularly good with Pyromancy, and I found it to be by far the most successful. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully to see some more mage builds in the arena. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. Another good thing about Pyromancy is that it's modular, so if you have a team of all mages, because believe me, everyone's thinking the same thing, they can finally use their mages now, and you get all mages a lot. You need to be able to be on the front lines as well while they're launching spells. You can't just have 3 spellcasters, that's not going to work. So if you have somebody on the front lines, then your allies with spells can start, throwing their own fireballs and be hitting people that you're fighting. So you can still use your dark weapons to great effect and still be a good melee fighter as well. So another reason why Pyromancy, I think, is the best. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you for the next video. Take it easy.